Okay, so let's do a video on how to paint your house.
You get paintbrush and paint it.
Best way to do it is let somebody else do it for you.
Yeah, hire it done.
Okay, so first you got to figure out the main color. What color do you want it? I don't recommend white.
Well, if you paint it black, it's still going to show the dust.
White shows every little bitty piece of dirt. Whoever thought of painting houses white was an idiot. But ours is white, so. And then color of the trim. Go with the easy color to match, no matter what you choose. You know, these days they can match any color at the store. You know, just bring in a little piece of your paint. They put it under the computer and they can match it. But
Any kind of dark green, forest green.
so we go with green. It's been green forever. What color was the house years ago? You remember?
Your father painted it light green.
Light green one time.
Yeah.
Seems like there's a layer of yellow too.
Yeah, I don't know. That might have been way before my time.
Yeah. Older houses, you start scraping. The older paint will have lead, so you might want to wear a face mask so you don't breathe the lead. I think that might even just go back back in the 90s. It's not very far back. So first thing you got to do is get a good scraper. Don't go cheap on a scraper, because some of the scrapers, they bend real easy and they're just a real pain. When you talk about painting house, they should call it scraping the house, because you spend more time scraping. You spend like 75% of your time scraping and only like 25% painting.
And don't get a dull scraper, because it doesn't scrape.
The modern paints have primer built in, so you don't have to prime them first anymore. You know, it's primer and paint. Some spots, like that spot there, that might need 2 coats to cover that.
Well, it has a coat of putty.
Yeah, you're probably gonna need some caulk. Cheap caulk is good. You can get these caulk for like $1. You can buy a case of it for under 20 bucks. You know, you can get a case of 12 for about $18, I think it was. That's the best way to go, you know, especially if you got a big house and you got a lot of cracks that you'll need to caulk. Just buy a case. I think one of the first times I did this one, I went through 2 or 3 cases of caulk. So I just finished this side here. I did all this in I think 2 days. But that was, I had a lot of stuff to move and work around. Old paint cans. If you have some old paint cans, save them. Even if they're rusty, they'll be okay. Yeah. Buy your paint in the 5-gallon. It's a lot cheaper. Buy the 5-gallon pails on sale. I caught the 5-gallon pails on sale for like, I don't remember the exact price, but like $50. And then they even had a coupon, so I got like $20 back or $40 back on the coupon. So I think I ended up paying like $40 for a 5-gallon. So you know, you just have to walk into the hardware stores and watch for the sales if you know you're going to paint sometime soon. I actually bought this paint
2 years ago.
Yeah, not last year. I was going to paint it last year, and it was too hot. It went from real hot to raining. I didn't get to do it last year, so yeah, it was the fall. It was 2 years ago, probably this month. So that's how far back I bought the paint. And I bought 3 5-gallons. I think it takes me 13 gallons to do this house. One time I did it by the gallon, and I counted. So it's fairly big. It's not huge, but it's big enough. Lots of wood. I slop it on too. I put it on pretty thick. So 1 5-gallon of trim usually does it. All the windows and the foundation. For the foundation, seal it up with cement first. You know, just get some mortar. Not concrete. Concrete has stones in it. You want mortar. Mortar is just like a dust. You mix it up, and it's like it mixes up, so it's kind of like mashed potatoes. So you can stuff it into the cracks. You can see what I did there. I put it down along the bottom to try and stop the water from getting in. Stuff like this under here, you know, make sure you seal that up good under here. The cold air gets up under there. I'm not an expert at this, but maybe under here you might supposed to leave that open so the water can drip out.
I don't know.
I usually seal it up though. I got it all sealed up, but you might want to check on that. You know, leave these open so the water can drip out. But I seal it up so the air can't get in. Our house shifted here. I had a big crack here. It just kind of pulled it away. That one spot right there took a whole tube of caulk right down the side here. It just kind of spread apart there, and there's a spot in the front. It did the same thing. You know, it's an old house, 120 years old. Put down these things, not tarps, but they're like a burlap sheet. I've tried using tarps, and tarps don't work. They just blow away in the wind. I used to try to nail them to the house and put bricks on them. It's just a big pain. So I bumped into these on sale at the hardware store. You know, you get like a 2-pack for like $5-6. So that's not a bad deal. You're gonna have to trim the bushes away from the house. You know, like use rope or bungee cords to pull them away. And some of the stuff around the house is gonna get trampled. I don't see how to avoid that. I guess if you're real careful, you could avoid it, but I don't see how.
But these dry up and all.
Yeah, these these grow like crazy. So
They start over in the
yeah,
summer.
they start over and they spread like crazy. But you're gonna need a ladder. This here is 2-story, and I can do that with a 20-footer. It's one 20-foot piece, and then I use a paintbrush on a stick. It's about a 3-foot stick, and I can catch that peak, and that usually does the job. This ladder here, it's a 40-footer. It's 2 pieces. My father bought it years ago, but it's huge. You don't need one of those. No. Just probably measure your house. Maybe if you can get a 20-foot or a 25-foot. It depends on how high it is. And then you're gonna have like an angle too. So you have to account for the angle to go up. So maybe a 25-foot ladder for most houses. What I do is I put this on my belt, and then I chain this around the ladder so I don't fall off. I use like a double clip, springy clip thing. And then I have eye bolts on the house, and I chain the ladder to the eye bolt so the ladder can't fall away from the house. When you put the ladder up to the house, put a stake in the ground, a big metal stake. Just pound a metal stake in the ground behind the ladder so the ladder can't slide back. If you're doing it near a driveway, put your car behind the ladder so it can't slide back. Okay. Use rubber gloves. It's a lot easier to clean up. You save wear and tear on your fingers. Probably go through a box of gloves easy, but then you save time trying to wash all that paint off at night. Okay, so here's how I got my paint set up. White paint, trim paint. This is a Husky stir from Home Depot. It's about $5. But what I found was it wouldn't fit on my drill. So I had to use an attachment, a nut setter here. Walmart started selling these. They're a little smaller, and I think that end will go in my drill. So we'll check this out. I just got this one last night. I think it'll do the job. Okay, see how that one fits on my drill, and I don't need an attachment. So I'll just put that in here. Oop. Don't drop the camera in the paint. Full speed. A lot better than trying to stand here with a stick for a half hour filming. Okay, so I really haven't figured out a good method to get the paint out of the 5-gallon bucket. You could just pour it, but if you miss, you're going to lose a lot of paint. So what I threw together the other day was I just got these peanut butter jars, and I put like a hook on it so that it hangs there on the edge. It's messy, but it does the job. And then hold the gallon bucket above here when you pour it so it doesn't drip all over the floor. I only fill them up about halfway. In case you drop it, then you only lose a half gallon. Plus, then you got room to just leave the brush in there too. Okay, so you can see I got the ladder here, and it's almost, and the angle's kind of short, but I gotta reach that peak. You know, that's a 20-foot ladder. That's why I say if you go with a 25-foot ladder, you know, I don't know if they make 25-footers, but I think they do. And then see, I have these things. Got a hook here, got a scraper on one end, and here you got a hook and then a brush on the other end.
That's what the extension ladder's for.
And then you'll need one of these things. These are only $1 at the hardware store. These go on here like this, and it hangs off to the side like this. Okay. Kind of hard to do with one hand. And then these, I made these the same length. So when I put them on here like that, I can move up the ladder with them. Okay. And then you can see up there, there's that chain. Oh, chain right there. That's the one I hook on my belt. Okay, so I put this ring on my belt. Gotta have a heavy duty leather belt. That might save your life. And then the ring's here. And the ring's here, and then I snap that onto the chain that's attached to the ladder. Okay, so just to show you how we paint the house here. One important thing is before you carry your can up the ladder, make sure you put the brush in it. Then you don't have to come back down the ladder. Right? These hooks here, you get these hooks at the hardware store for $1. They're angled because you can put the can on the side. Then you move up the ladder like this. Don't let anyone work below you in case you drop something. Scraper in the back pocket. You know, that seems to be a good place for it.
Or you could have a hook on that one too.
These bare spots, I just put it on thick, and then it'll be all right. Years ago, one time I painted the house, I put 2 coats on it, but that's not necessary. 1 coat's fine. Always keep one arm inside the ladder, you know, so you don't fall back. Okay, we're still working on the house. We got about 75% of it done. I say we've gone through about 8 gallons of white, maybe 2.5 gallons of green. think one time it took 13 gallons of white to do the whole thing. But I don't think it'll take that much this time. That 13 gallons, that was, it hadn't been painted in a long time. And I think I put 2 coats on quite a bit of it. So best way to paint a house is to find someone to do your scraping.
That's what takes the longest.
Yeah.
Getting it ready.
Don't get carried away scraping. You know, just get the big stuff. Yeah. Sometimes you can't tell what needs to be scraped until you paint it. After you paint it, it sticks up. For the big white part, you can use cheap brushes, you know, $5 brushes. For the real fine trim around the windows, you know, use like a 2 or 3 inch brush, but I wouldn't use cheap brushes on there because the bristles start falling out. It's hard to get a fine line around the edge. Caulk up down along the bottom here, and anywhere around the windows, anywhere you see a hole. Like I got a bunch of nail, like I got a bunch of nail holes down in here from the mailbox and putting up security signs and stuff like that. So. Paint the mailbox black every couple years.
Find some more loose stuff when you start putting paint on it.
Cheap caulk is good enough. This is a DAP 25 year. $18 for the case. One of the hard parts about painting is trimming up all the bushes around the house. So start trimming bushes like a month before. Okay, so that corner of the house is kind of tricky because the ground slants. So that's how I do that part. I stick the ladder up under the eaves trough there, and then get a helper to hold the ladder so the ladder don't slide. You know. But That part's always a little dangerous to do because the ground's slanted. Okay, so I'm painting the front of the house. Here's how I do it. Park the car here, put the ladder against the car so it can't slide back. If you can't do that, pound a pole in the ground, you know, just make a hole in the ground, put a steel pole in there. Always have someone hold the ladder, have someone nearby in case something happens. That wire, that's a telephone wire, so I'm able to set the ladder down on top of the wire. It's long enough to where I can lean on it. Been doing it for years, it doesn't seem to be a problem, but I guess we'll find out later if the phone works. So sometimes we have a bucket with a rope, and then I haul everything up like that. You know, at one time I got 2 buckets of paint here. I'm just gonna heave-ho it up, and there's my brush on a stick, and I'm gonna use that to paint the far edge where the wires are. See, on this side of the house I got the wires that come off the pole. They go on the side of the house. It's real tricky painting this side because you don't want to bump into the wires and get electrocuted. So that peak right up in here, that peak right there, I can't quite reach that without stretching. That's where I'm going to use the brush on a stick. But I already did this side. I lay down most of the time, and I got a chain. I'm actually chained down. You see there, I got my tarps, and right there in the middle, I got an eye bolt and a chain, and that snaps onto my belt. So I can't slip off the roof. Plus I got something to hang on to as I'm going up and down. Helps out. So see this peak where all these wires are, that's the tough part. Let me see if I can slap some on that corner too. You can't see it from the other side, but I should be able to reach around the side there. Okay, so we'll film it from the other side. Not to spill nothing on the roof, right? Here's my chain. I got it hooked on my belt. Hooked on the house. You can also use it just for balance too, as you're getting close to the edge. Okay, I got this spot here. It's all rotten wood. I cleared out all the rotten wood, all the soft stuff. Then I put 4 screws in there. Now I'm going to fill it up with Bondo.
Okay, this is Jimmy after he got done painting the house. I think he painted his clothes. He took his shoes off already, but they were covered with paint too.
October 21st, 2019.
Hey.
I'm king! I'm king! See ya.